Dr. Amara Singh, a brilliant xenolinguist aboard the UES Meridian, discovers mysterious signals from the Outer Rim territories that she believes are attempts at alien communication. When her crew is reassigned to escort duty for a crucial interstellar peace summit involving 12 different species, Amara reluctantly puts her investigation aside. However, the signals turn out to be far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. At the Centauri Station summit, where species are negotiating mining rights to valuable asteroid fields, things go terribly wrong. What appears to be a diplomatic mission becomes a fight for the survival of conscious thought itself, when ancient parasitic entities called the Umbral reveal their presence. These shadow-like beings can take control of sentient minds, and they've been systematically infiltrating key leaders across multiple species. Working alongside her trusted allies, Commander Zara Okoye, Engineer Dr. Kai Nakamura Patel, and Vorthak Cultural Liaison Fexara, Amara must use her linguistic expertise to uncover the parasite's weakness before they can complete their plan for galactic domination. The stakes couldn't be higher. The mining rights being negotiated aren't just about economic resources, but about crystal formations that could allow the Umbral to enslave entire civilizations. This space opera thriller combines intense action sequences with linguistic puzzles and diplomatic intrigue, as humanity and its allies race against time to prevent an ancient evil from rising again. Can Amara decode the secret to stopping the Umbral before consciousness itself becomes just another resource to be harvested? Dr. Amara Singh hummed a Punjabi folk tune under her breath as she analysed the latest transmission from the Outer Rim territories. The communication array aboard the UES Meridian buzzed with activity, displaying complex waveforms that most would consider indecipherable noise. To Amara, they were beautiful conversations waiting to be understood. Another batch of garbled signals from the Kepler sector, announced Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. Third one this week? Should I file it under cosmic interference again? Amara paused her humming, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the patterns. No. There's something deliberate here. Look at these repetition sequences. She gestured to the holographic display, where ethereal blue waves danced in seemingly chaotic patterns. This isn't interference. Someone, or something, is trying to communicate. Commander Zara Okoye approached, her boots clicking against the metallic deck plating. The security chief's presence commanded immediate attention, her tall frame cutting an imposing figure in her deep blue uniform. Dr. Singh, we've received priority orders from command. We're being reassigned to escort duty for the Centauri Peace Summit. Amara's shoulders sagged slightly. But Commander, these signals could be first contact with an unknown species. The linguistic patterns suggest, orders are orders, Doctor. Zara's tone was firm, but not unsympathetic. She fingered the small carved elephant pendant hanging from her neck, a nervous habit Amara had noticed during their 6 months serving together. The summit involves 12 different species trying to negotiate mining rights to the Meridian asteroid fields. They need our best xenolinguist there to prevent any misunderstandings. Mining rights. Amara switched to Hindi, muttering under her breath. Paisa hi sab kuch hai. Money is everything. She looked back at the mysterious signals one more time, her analytical mind already cataloguing the unusual syntax structures. Fine, but I want these transmissions forwarded to my personal files. Something's not right about them. Dr. Kai Nakamura Patel's voice crackled through the ship's intercom system. Bridge to engineering. We've got a small hiccup with the quantum resonance chamber. Needs about 30 minutes for recalibration before we can jump to the summit coordinates. Amara seized the opportunity. Perfect. That gives me time to run a deeper analysis on these signals. She began typing rapidly on her console, her fingers dancing across the holographic keyboard. 29 minutes, then, Zara said with a slight smile. And, Doctor? Your intuition about alien communications has never been wrong before. If you think there's something important here, I trust your judgment. As the commander walked away, Amara felt a chill run down her spine. The signals weren't just communication, they were a warning. But a warning about what? 3 hours later, the UES Meridian emerged from its quantum jump at the Centauri Station, a massive ring-shaped structure that served as neutral ground for interstellar diplomacy. The station gleamed like a metallic flower against the backdrop of 3 suns, its multiple sections designed to accommodate the environmental needs of dozens of different species. Impressive as always, Kai commented from the engineering station, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses as he monitored their approach. He was surrounded by small mechanical models. His latest creation appeared to be a miniature replica of their own ship. Though I still think the Vorthak-designed sections are unnecessarily ornate. All those crystalline formations must be a nightmare for maintenance. Amara gathered her translation equipment while reviewing the summit roster. 12 species, each with their own complex linguistic patterns, cultural taboos, and negotiation styles. The hegemony humans would be representing Earth's interests. The crystalline Zephyrians would speak only in mathematical harmonics, and the aquatic Delphinians required specialized pressure suits for surface interaction. There's our cultural liaison. Zara pointed through the viewport at an approaching shuttle. Thexara should help smooth any rough diplomatic edges. The Vorthak's shuttle docked with practiced precision, and moments later, Thexara glided onto their bridge. The alien being stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent blue-green skin that seemed to shift colors with emotional states. Large, multifaceted eyes surveyed the human crew with intelligent curiosity. "Greetings, friends of the Meridian." Thexara's voice carried melodic undertones that suggested complex emotional layers. "I bring concerning news from the outer territories. Several Vorthak colony ships have reported complete communication blackouts before disappearing entirely." Amara's blood ran cold. The signals I've been tracking, they might be connected to these disappearances. What signals? Thexara's skin shifted to a deeper blue, indicating heightened attention. Amara quickly explained the mysterious transmissions, while Kai pulled up the data on the main screen. The waveforms painted an ominous picture, a pattern that resembled a countdown or warning sequence. "By the ancient hives," Thexara whispered, their skin now showing rapid color fluctuations of distress. "These patterns, they match historical records from the Umbral incursion 5,000 years ago." "The what now?" Kai looked up from his miniature engineering project, suddenly alert. "A parasitic species that feeds on consciousness," Thexara explained, their empathic abilities picking up the growing tension in the room. "They were thought extinct. If they have returned—" Admiral Corvin Blackthorn's holographic image suddenly materialized on the bridge, interrupting their discussion. The distinguished-looking human officer appeared professional and composed, though Amara noticed something odd about his eyes. They seemed to reflect light in an unusual way. "UES Meridian, you are to report directly to the summit chambers. The negotiations have become complicated." Dr. Singh, your expertise with the Zephyrian mathematical languages is required immediately. There have been some translation difficulties that threaten the entire peace process. Admiral, Zara stepped forward. We've received intelligence about potential threats. Commander Okoye. Blackthorn's voice carried an edge of authority. The summit takes priority. These mining rights will determine economic stability for the next century. Personal theories about ancient threats can wait. The hologram flickered off, leaving the bridge in uncomfortable silence. Something's wrong, Amara muttered in Punjabi. His linguistic patterns were off. Subtle, but wrong. Thexara's skin had shifted to a pale yellow, the Vorthak equivalent of deep concern. I agree. His emotional resonance felt hollow, as if something else was influencing his thoughts. Kai saved his work and stood up, brushing imaginary dust off his engineering uniform. Well, orders are orders, but maybe we should keep our eyes open down there. And Dr. Singh? You might want to keep monitoring those signals. I have a feeling they're more important than the Admiral wants us to believe. As they prepared to transport to the station, Amara couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into something far more dangerous than a simple diplomatic mission. The summit chamber aboard Centauri Station was a marvel of diplomatic engineering, with environmental zones tailored for each species' needs. The central area maintained standard human atmosphere, while specialized alcoves provided everything from methane-rich environments to high-pressure aquatic chambers. Amara worked frantically at her translation console, her earlier unease growing stronger with each passing minute. The Zephyrian delegates communicated in pure mathematical equations, their crystalline bodies resonating with harmonic frequencies that translated to complex economic proposals. But something was interfering with her usual translation protocols. The resonance patterns are all wrong, she muttered to herself in Hindi, then switched to English as Kai approached. It's like there's some kind of background interference affecting everyone's communication. I've been monitoring the station's systems, Kai replied quietly, pretending to adjust her equipment while keeping his voice low. There are energy readings I can't identify. Something's draining power from multiple sections, but it's not showing up on official diagnostics. Across the chamber, Admiral Blackthorn was in intense discussion with representatives from various species. Amara watched his body language carefully. The man moved with purpose, but there was something predatory about his gestures that hadn't been there in previous interactions. Thexara approached, their skin showing rapid color shifts of alarm. Amara, I've been attempting to establish empathic contact with the other delegates, but I'm sensing something terrible. Several of them feel empty, as if part of their consciousness is being suppressed or controlled. The signals, Amara gasped, finally making the connection. They weren't warnings, they were tracking signals. Something has been following these ships, these leaders, waiting for the right moment to strike. Suddenly, the chamber's lights dimmed, and a low, pulsing sound filled the air. The translation equipment began malfunctioning, displaying gibberish instead of coherent language conversions. What's happening? Demanded Representative Korthek, the Delphinian delegate, his aquatic suit's systems sparking with electrical interference. Admiral Blackthorn stood slowly, and when he turned to face the assembly, his eyes had changed completely. Instead of normal human irises, they now held swirling voids of darkness that seemed to absorb light. The time for negotiations is over. Blackthorn's voice carried harmonic undertones, similar to the mysterious signals Amara had been tracking. The Umbral collective has returned to reclaim what was always ours, the consciousness of every sentient species in this galaxy. Shadow-like tendrils began emerging from ventilation shafts throughout the chamber. The parasitic entities moved like liquid darkness, reaching toward the assembled delegates with predatory intent. "Umbral parasites!" Thexara shouted, their skin flashing bright red in warning. "They attach to the nervous system and take control of the host." Chaos erupted in the chamber. Some delegates tried to flee, while others, apparently already compromised, began attacking their former allies. Zara immediately activated the emergency protocols, her military training taking over. "Dr. Singh," Zara called out while drawing her sidearm. "Can you get the communications array back online? We need to warn the fleet." Amara dove behind her console as one of the shadow parasites swept past her head. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface, trying to break through the interference jamming their signals. "Kai, I need more power to the communications array." "On it!" Kai had already accessed the nearest engineering panel, his technical expertise allowing him to reroute power from non-essential systems. "Give me 30 seconds. A horrific scream echoed through the chamber as one of the Zephyrian delegates was engulfed by a shadow parasite. The crystalline being's harmonic song turned into discordant chaos before falling silent completely. Thexara positioned themselves protectively near Amara, using their empathic abilities to detect approaching parasites. They're trying to target the leaders first, those with the most influence over their species. "The mining rights," Amara realized with growing horror. This was never about economic negotiations. The Umbral want access to the asteroid fields because they contain something valuable to them. Admiral Blackthorn, his consciousness now fully suppressed by the Umbral parasite, approached their group with several compromised delegates flanking him. "Dr. Singh, your linguistic abilities will be quite useful once you join us. The translation protocols for enslaving entire species require delicate work." Zara stepped between Amara and the Admiral, her weapon trained on his center mass. "Stay back. I don't care what rank you used to hold." "Commander." Blackthorn's voice now carried multiple harmonic layers, suggesting several parasites were coordinating through his form. "Your resistance is futile. We have already taken control of key leaders throughout this sector. Soon, every sentient mind will serve the collective." "Got it!" Kai shouted from the engineering panel. "Communications are back online?" Amara immediately began broadcasting on all frequencies, sending out warnings in dozens of languages simultaneously. But as she worked, she noticed something in the Umbral communication patterns, a frequency that seemed to cause the parasites physical discomfort. "Thexara," she called out. "Your empathic abilities? Can you project emotional resonance on specific frequencies?" "Yes, but why would—" Thexara's multifaceted eyes suddenly widened with understanding. "The harmonic disruption. If I can match the frequency you've discovered." Working together, Amara identified the exact resonance pattern, while Thexara began projecting intense emotional energy based on the Vorthak's collective consciousness memories. The combination created a feedback loop that caused the shadow parasites to writhe and retreat. But their success was short-lived. More parasites began flooding into the chamber, and Admiral Blackthorn raised a modified weapon that seemed designed to specifically target biological neural networks. "Your clever tricks only delay the inevitable," he said, taking aim at Thexara. "The collective has learned much since our last encounter with your species." The weapon fired with a sound like tearing reality. Thexara attempted to dodge, but the energy discharge caught them in the side. The Vorthak's skin immediately lost all color as they collapsed, their empathic abilities severed by the alien technology. Thexara! Amara rushed to her friend's side, while Kai and Zara provided covering fire against the approaching parasites. The resonance, Thexara whispered weakly, their usual melodic voice now barely audible. You must maintain the frequency. It's their only weakness. But without Thexara's empathic projection abilities, Amara knew she couldn't recreate the harmonic disruption that had driven the parasites back. As shadows closed in around them, she realized their only hope lay in reaching the station's main communications array. If they could broadcast the disruptive frequency on a wide enough scale, they might be able to free the compromised delegates and call for help. The question was whether they could survive long enough to reach it. We need to get to the main communications array, Amara declared, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. She helped support the wounded Thexara, while Zara and Kai created a protective formation around them. The central hub is 6 levels down, Zara replied, checking her weapons charge. But it'll be heavily defended, especially if they've compromised the station's security forces. Kai frantically worked on a portable device he'd jury-rigged from his miniature models and spare parts. I might have something that can help. I've been analyzing the Umbral energy signatures. They seem to have a weakness to certain quantum frequencies. If I can modify our personal shields... Amara's mind raced as she processed everything they'd learned. The mysterious signals she'd detected weren't just tracking beacons. They were coordination frequencies for a massive parasitic invasion. The Umbral had been systematically infiltrating key leaders across multiple species, positioning themselves for this moment. The mining rights, she said suddenly. It's not about the asteroids themselves. Those asteroid fields must contain something the Umbral need for their reproduction or expansion. Thexara stirred weakly in her arms, their skin showing faint flickers of color. The ancient records. They spoke of crystal formations that amplified psychic energy. If the Umbral could control those resources, they could enslave entire species more efficiently, Amara finished. We have to stop them from signing those agreements. As they moved through the station's corridors, the full scope of the invasion became apparent. Maintenance workers moved with jerky, unnatural motions, their eyes showing the same void-like quality as Admiral Blackthorn's. Emergency klaxons blared as life support systems fluctuated under the parasite's influence. This way! Zara guided them through a service tunnel she'd memorized during their security briefing. We can bypass the main corridors. They encountered their first group of compromised security forces near the central hub. The possessed guards moved in perfect coordination, their weapons targeting the group with inhuman precision. But Kai's modified shields held, creating a shimmering barrier that disrupted the Umbral parasite's control signals. It's working, Kai exclaimed as several guards collapsed, freed from parasitic influence. The quantum resonance is breaking their connection. Can you amplify it through the station's systems? Amara asked, while helping the disoriented guards to safety. Give me access to the main array in about 5 minutes, Kai replied confidently. Though we'll need to hold off any counterattacks while I work. The communication hub was a vast chamber filled with sophisticated equipment designed to facilitate interstellar diplomacy. Multiple species technologies had been integrated into a seamless network capable of real-time translation across dozens of languages and communication methods. But as they entered, Admiral Blackthorn was waiting for them, along with several other compromised leaders. The Umbral parasites had clearly anticipated their plan. Dr. Singh. Blackthorn's multiple-voiced harmony was now distinctly alien. You continue to interfere with plans that have been centuries in the making. The collective offers unity, purpose, freedom from the chaos of individual thought. Why do you resist such perfection? Because, Amara replied, while helping Kai reach the main console. Perfection without choice isn't perfection. It's slavery. The battle that followed was unlike anything they'd experienced. The compromised leaders fought with coordinated precision, but they lacked the creativity and unpredictability that came with individual consciousness. Zara's tactical training proved invaluable as she adapted their strategy based on split-second decisions that the hive-minded Umbral couldn't anticipate. "Almost there," Kai called out, his fingers dancing across multiple interfaces simultaneously. "I'm integrating the quantum disruption pattern with the station's communication grid." A shadow parasite broke through their defenses, heading directly for Kai. Thexara, despite their injuries, managed to project one final burst of empathic energy, stunning the creature long enough for Zara to destroy it with her sidearm. "Now!" Amara shouted. Kai activated the modified array, sending the quantum disruption frequency throughout the entire station. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Shadow parasites writhed and dissipated throughout the complex, while compromised individuals collapsed as their neural patterns were freed from Umbral control. Admiral Blackthorn screamed, not with his voice alone, but with the harmonic shriek of dozens of parasites being forcibly ejected from their hosts. The shadow creatures fled toward the station's outer sections, seeking escape. "The mining agreement," Amara said urgently. "We need to make sure those asteroid fields are quarantined." "Already on it," Zara was coordinating with the freed security forces. "I'm sending warnings to the entire fleet. Those asteroids will be under military lockdown until we can properly investigate what the Umbral were really after." 3 weeks later, the UES Meridian was back in space, continuing their original mission of deep space communication monitoring. The official reports had classified the Centauri Station incident as a terrorist attack by unknown xenophobic extremists, but those who had lived through it knew the truth. Amara sat at her communication array, analyzing new signals from unexplored sectors. The mysterious transmissions she'd first detected had indeed been warnings, automated distress calls from worlds that had already fallen to Umbral infiltration. Thanks to their intervention, dozens of species now knew what signs to watch for. "Any word on Thexara's recovery?" Kai asked, looking up from his latest miniature model. This one appeared to be a detailed replica of Centauri Station. "The Vorthak medical specialists are optimistic," Amara replied. "Their empathic abilities are regenerating, though it'll take time. They're being honored as a hero by the Vorthak High Council." Zara approached with a steaming cup of tea, Kai's latest blend. "Admiral Blackthorn is recovering as well. The debriefing teams say he has no memory of being controlled, but he's been instrumental in identifying other potentially compromised officers throughout the fleet." "And the asteroid fields?" Amara asked. "Quarantined and under investigation," Zara confirmed. "The science teams found crystal formations that do indeed amplify psychic energy. The Umbral were planning to use them as breeding grounds for a new generation of parasites. Without access to those resources, they'll have to retreat to wherever they've been hiding for the past 5,000 years. Kai adjusted his glasses thoughtfully. "The interesting thing is how they adapted their tactics. Instead of direct invasion, they tried to use our own diplomatic processes against us. If you hadn't noticed those initial signals, the entire galaxy might have fallen under their control before anyone realized what was happening," Amara finished. She looked out at the stars streaming past their viewports. "It makes you wonder what other ancient threats are still out there, waiting for the right moment to return." That's why we do what we do, Zara said, fingering her grandmother's elephant pendant. Someone has to watch the dark between the stars. A new signal appeared on Amara's console. This one was clearly artificial, but the mathematical structures were unlike anything in her databases. She smiled as she began the familiar process of decoding an alien language. "Another first contact?" Kai asked, recognizing her expression. "Looks like it. And this time it seems friendly." Amara began humming an old Punjabi song as she worked, her fingers already dancing across the translation interface. The universe is vast and full of wonders. Some of them want to devour us, some of them want to enslave us, but most of them... She paused as the first coherent message resolved on her screen. Most of them just want to say hello. The message was simple and beautiful. "Greetings, fellow travelers among the stars. We have been listening to your music broadcasts. Do you have any more of those wonderful compositions from the planet you call Earth?" Amara laughed out loud, the sound echoing through the bridge. Despite all the dangers they'd faced, despite the cosmic horrors that lurked in the darkness between worlds, there were still species out there who just wanted to share art and culture. "Prepare a response," she told the communications officer, "and include some of those classical Indian fusion pieces I've been working on. If we're going to represent humanity to the galaxy, we might as well make sure they hear our best music." As the UES Meridian continued its journey through the vast expanse of space, Amara couldn't help but feel optimistic about the future. Yes, there were threats lurking in the darkness, ancient parasites, hostile aliens, and dangers yet unknown. But humanity had proven once again that when united with their allies, when guided by courage and creativity rather than fear and conformity, they could face any challenge the universe threw at them. And sometimes, the universe threw friendly aliens who just wanted to trade recipes and music. Those were definitely Amara's favorite kind of first contact. Thank you for listening to the Meridian Paradox, produced by the Narrative Core. If you liked this story, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. With your support, we can continue creating high-quality and entertaining stories. Until then,